going on, Tech Kids? Hope you're doing well. TGIF, and thank you again for 300 subscribers, followers. 300 Tech Heads. The army grows. Anyways, speaking of growing, the FCC has ruled that all carriers must unlock their phones up to 60 days. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in the predicament where you are in the phone flipping business. I've dabbled in a little bit. This is why I found out my true love will always be Android. But there were times where I was an iPhone gal. I know. It's so sad to say. But this will make things a little bit easier for those people who, buy one, get one free, and they're idealists to flip the phone. And before I even get to the article, let's be clear. If it's purchased legitimately, right, and it's a buy one, get one free, you're already subsidizing the phone. Why can't you do whatever you want with the free phone that was allegedly, and I say allegedly, I could turn on the hand trackers, do air quotes, but not today. It's a little wonky. But you should be able to do whatever you want. This is kind of like how Tesla's doing with Cybertrucks and I think some of their newer vehicles where you're not allowed to sell it once you get it. But let's get into the article. I was saving this for a day like this where I can actually dig in deep because I still have phones that I'm trying to get. Like I'm looking at that Sony One Mark 6. It's a beautiful looking device. Also the Moondrop. I believe that's only international at the moment too. It has, get this Tech Heads, it has dual headphone ports for balanced audio. So you don't feel like you're going deaf in one ear because the engineer didn't balance out the audio or whatever, right? So anyways, the FCC wants to make it significantly easier for consumers to unlock their phones from their carriers, proposing that all devices must be unlockable just 60 days after purchase. How this would mess with current plans and phone buying trends, however, is something the agency is hoping to learn before putting up a rule into effect. So, it read that they already did it, but apparently they're still debating on it. It's a rule because right now, and I'm screwing again, so I just want to see if I match my knowledge here since I haven't been in the cell phone flipping market for quite some time. It used to be you buy a phone, it's subsidized to your plan for 2 years. Then you pay it off, then the phone's yours. Or you elect to upgrade. As a Verizon subscriber, that was always the thing. They had this thing called the Edge. They had things called Mobile One, where you just, if you want to upgrade every year, you could. And it was because iPhone was practically releasing phones like every year at one point, and it made kind of space it out a little bit more. But recently, not this portion, but recently, they started locking down with phones for upwards of 180 days. 180 days. Now, that's whether it's paid or unpaid. They wanted to keep your device for themselves. And that sucks because maybe you're someone who is helping someone by giving them a phone. Maybe they can't afford the latest and greatest, but now there's a buy one, get one, they can. And you want to be helpful, but it's tied to you. They can't actually put it in their name. But let's see what the rule will proceed to do. Mobile phones purchased from a carrier are generally locked to that carrier until either the contract is up or the phone's paid off. But despite improvements to the process over the years, unlocking was flat out illegal not long ago. Same as Skidner. Walk with me. It's still quite clear to all consumers when and how they can unlock their phone and take it to the carrier of choice. Like, for example, the LG Wing was on certain carriers. Now, if this phone just happens to get popular again, there is a double edge to this. The positive edge, you got the device, let's say you got one in pristine condition, whether you got the box or not, right? Then you realize, this is a Verizon exclusive phone. Its radios and receivers are tied to that because of some BS arbitration clause. Now imagine the flip to that would be, hey, you got this phone, it's in popular demand, but you can sell it at any price because it's not contingent on a carrier. Like if you go on places like OfferUp or Mercari or Swappa, just name a few, you'll see that they actually have sections that are divided, and the price tiers are so drastic. For AT&T to Verizon is ridiculous. You can get the same phone that's AT&T because it's GSM for roughly $80 to $90 cheaper just because of the carrier. So in a way, this is going to help a lot of people get access to different types of phones that seemed cool or nostalgic or gimmicky, whatever, it's your money. But also, it makes no sense why these things should have been locked in the first place, because Mouse like, well, damn, I had this phone. It's popular now. I want to go ahead and do something with it other than let it collect dust. Oh, wait, it was tied to a carrier. Oh, wait, was it on contract? But hopefully this rule will make that irrelevant. One can hope, because I know if I find that Sony, and I've been in the Reddit forums, I've been searching. Not only is the 5 pretty much sold out everywhere, the Mark 6 is sold out too. And if you remember from a previous post, they're not selling it to anywhere on the Western Hemisphere. No Canada, no Mexico, no United States of America. And to import something from China, I mean, we kind of do it when you're on eBay, but you're talking about a mobile phone that you're going to be going thanking, sending personal identifiable information across whatever's in there. Because let's be honest, you're taking a gamble. Buying something secondhand, thirdhand, especially when it comes to digital devices where everything's a digital footprint these days, right? So I say all this to say is like, if they just never implemented the bloody rule to begin with, I think a lot of profit margins would have been up and a lot more people would have been able to get a hold of these innovative devices. And then you would have greater ideas. I know it's idyllic. I should just move on. FCC, well, I skipped it. Sorry. To be clear, this is not about opening up your phone using a face, fingerprint, or password, but changing settings in this software to allow it to work with different mobile networks. FCC Chairwoman Jessica Wozen-Warsel, German, announcing the notice of proposed rulemaking, or NPRM, in a press release Thursday. When you buy a phone, you should have the freedom to decide when to change the service to the carrier you want and not have the device you own, keyword, you own, stuck by practices that prevent you from making the choice. Okay, so I'm kind of liking her thought process on this. That is why we are here. That is why we are proposing clear nationwide mobile phone unlocking rules. I want to interrupt a little bit and just say, what's the big deal? Let's say you're an entrepreneur. You might be in proximity to someone who has phones, be it older models, newer models, whatever. And this is your chance to get out of a cycle, like it was for me. Buying and selling and flipping phones, it was a way to not have a regular 9-to-5 job. Some days that would make $1,000. Some days I'll only make $150. But the thing was that before these rules got put into play, I can go get a phone from another carrier, flip it, and it'd be more popular in a different area, and it's how you make your money. Just a little tidbit I'm trying to share with y'all. It's these little micro pushes, and even though this is more the positive one, don't get me wrong, but it's these little micro pushes that make you think, okay, what freedoms do you really have to really make it, especially if you don't want to work a 9-to-5. So, and there's nothing wrong with 9-to-5s. It pays bills. It does what it needs to do. But, you're limited in movement, freedom, and choices that you really want to do throughout the general day that you want to do something, right? So it's like, it's just bringing back some old memories of when flipping phones was a genuine business and getting me out of situations that otherwise, if I were to work 9 to 5, I probably wouldn't even be at this point. I wouldn't be well versed in the mobile space as it is now. And I'm not saying I'm this prolific icon, But I just want to let you know that's why I wanted to talk about this one a little bit more in depth. I was supposed to post this yesterday, but after reading this, and I was like, okay, I wanted to be a little more personal and share why I want to keep doing this with you all. Because some of you out there, you might be a connoisseur of certain things. And eventually, you're going to go through that rhythm where people are going to look at you like you're weird because why do you have so many phones? Are you dealing drugs? Are you some type of business mogul or something usually nefarious, unfortunately? But maybe now that it's 2024, maybe people be like, well, why don't you have two phones? What, you keep your personal life and your outside life on one device? What are you, mad? But that's just, like I said, let's finish the article. I wanted to take time to explain that, why I felt this article was needed to be discussed about, at least on my page, and hopefully it inspires whoever's watching. Don't quit. Just because there are some rules doesn't mean you can't make your way around them. I did, especially when I bet some of you don't even know who Sprint is. Bet you guys don't even know who O2 is, or Alcatel, Nokia. I think Razr's back. Yeah, Motorola's back with the Razr because they have a Moto G Stylus 5G, which is actually pretty good for a mid-range phone. Has a Snapdragon Gen 1 in it and has a headphone jack, the stylus like the Note series, OLED, 5,000 milliamp battery, SD card slot. Basically all the cool stuff you used to get. But I don't know if that works on Verizon. But maybe after this rule goes through, I might have to add it to my collection. So thanks for listening to my soapbox rant. Appreciate y'all. But you. Anyways, let's move on to the last part of this article. Specifically, the release says carriers would simply have to provide unlock services 60 days after activation. A welcome standard, but it may run afoul in today's phone and wireless markets. For instance, although the dreaded 2-year contract is no longer for some, most consumers, is my force anymore? It's been so long. I usually buy my phones out right now, and that just not flex. I'm just saying, I'm so used to buying my phones out right now. I didn't even know they abolished that. It's a step in the right direction. Why? Can I get on my soapbox one more time? I never really understood why would you want to lease a phone? Because that's essentially what you're doing. Even though the price has been subsidized, even with inflation changes throughout the years and decades for the mobile space, it's you're basically renting the phone until you pay it. Well, I understand that is also an entryway to get into the higher end. So that's why I said I don't knock it. I just, when you move differently and you start seeing different aspects of entrepreneurism and you want to, you're not trying to keep the devices, you just try to keep moving. Yep, there he goes. That's probably in there. Anyways, this is why you keep your studio window closed, but it's a little warm here with all the tech. Anyways, yeah, I like I said, I don't knock getting on a 2-year contract, but if you don't have to, I wouldn't, because if you know tech and Moore's law, it's 6 months the next iteration, even if it's incremental. Apple looking at you, 6S, 7. I think they didn't do a 7S. I think they went straight to 8. Yeah, because the 7, they had 7 and 7 Plus, and then they introduced the jet black variant of the 7 Plus, because also they did the whole waterproofing and made a fixed home button, and then they get one more, which was a matte black 7, and that was the last one, and then they went to the 8, and then that's when they did the little in between models. And anyways, sorry, memories of moving everyone. I'm still in the soapbox. I'm at 300. I hope you are entertained. But I remember when the jet black came out and everyone was so gung-ho. I was like, I'd never seen such a black iPhone. Like, you do realize the first one was a hard shell piece of plastic, but it was AT&T/singular only. No? Oh, there he goes. He came back. It's Friday. It's summer. I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna let it ride. Anyways, a matter of fact, that might be my sign to go ahead and wrap this up. So, like I said, no qualms with people going on contracts to get phones, especially if you want to get into the tech mobile market at the highest end, and then just hold on to a phone for about 4 to 5 years throughout its predicted lifespan. So, let's get down to the next part. For instance, although the dreaded 2-year okay, and perhaps more to the point, the phones themselves are often paid for in amount of installment plans. You get right here, there it is, and highlighted. I'm highlighting it for you. Free, gratis for my Espanol speakers, and then pay it off over the next few years. Now, depending on what tier you get, and it could be short term, but if you get something like a terabyte, it's a laptop price, by the way. The NPRM is a stage of the SEC rulemaking where it has a draft rule, but has not yet been solicited public feedback. Well, guess what? We're doing it here on Hyper. You getting it first. On July 18th, you know what? I'll try to make sure I come back on July 18th and report whatever's going to happen here, right? On July 18th, the agency will publish the full document and open up commentary on above issues. And you can be sure there'll be some squawking from mobile providers. I'm thinking about just the tech space. You got Juan Bagmail, you got Detect Preacher, Android Authority. I doubt MKB would talk about this. Maybe Lou Rossman might talk about it. He seems like the that upright dabble in this. That's just to name a few. Because I don't want to keep you guys here all day. It's the weekend, right? Not knowing the specifics of the proposed rule, we can't be sure how it would mix with these company pay over time details. Okay. But unlocking a phone doesn't free someone from needing to pay out the device. And that's I'm going to keep reading tech. They can just use it on other networks if they want. And if a carrier lets you buy a phone outright for it, if it lets you buy a phone outright from it, but lots it to the brand for 6 months or a year out of sheer greed, this is what happened. Oh my God, I just realized this is what's happening. This is why if you go into a Verizon store, you only see Samsung, Google, and Apple because of this right here. Because I technically bought mine outright at a Verizon store. At the time, I didn't know Samsung was offering a orange variant, which looks really good, but purple ones. But that makes so much sense now why none of the other phones were like displayed in a matter of like, hey, buy it now and be done with it. But on Samsung's website, you just buy it. Now, yeah, you can do like a third party, a firm or, whatever they're using, or a Klarna or something like that, if you need to make payments. But it's not, but see, those payments are not locked to, there he goes. You're not locked to your particular provider. For example, you need to go overseas. You want to use a SIM card that's not from your country of origin. But guess what? The phone's locked to, and it won't even read the country codes. They won't read the bands that are needed to operate with either Galileo or any other GPS-bearing satellite that's out there. So yeah, this is just straight dread. So it ends with this. It says, as Rosen Warsaw said, the point of the rule is to offer consistency and transparency. A simple national rule from regulators setting a reasonable limit on how and whether carriers can lock down a device. TechCrunch will know more in July, and you will know more with me in July. This has been Teknyka with your DeskBreak. I hope you learned something from this and you got a little bit of understanding of where I'm coming from and where I'm from in the mobile space. And as always, stay safe out there, and I will see you on the next one, Tech Heads. Bye.